we're never cross gripping. Yeah, so I'm never, for now, it's not going to cross grip. And then we mainly, I kind of left it up to you guys really, but most of you would place the right hand on the card. This is right-handed, playing as a right-hander. Okay, and we were kind of playing like this, which kind of works because even in the gi exaggerates everything, which is why I think it's kind of a useful training tool. Even for people that primarily want to train no gi, because it exaggerates everything. You can see that it's like a magnifier, because you've basically got a noose around your neck, and so it makes sort of people sometimes stronger than they are, and it kind of plays that. It is a magnifier. So when he's pulling, if we're right versus right, when he's pulling, if I'm in 12 and 3, I'm naturally in the 12 and 3. So as he pulls, my heel begins to set up these the pyramid. And it's worth looking at these pilots integrity models in architecture. Like people build like little architecture models of buildings, and they have this like pyramid quality going on to them where they distribute pressure, right? But if he's playing right and I'm playing basically left, it helps prevent the push quite a lot. Even from the outside, if Matt tries to drive forward, although he has an advantage, he definitely transfers some weight. I've still got some kind of block. It's not completely free for it when we're on. So when you go left versus right, there is a principle around it blocks the push, right? And whoever's on the inside has more of an advantage. He can start trying to open his elbow, and then I start putting my weight on his elbow, and this little game goes on. But it prevents push when we're like this. Versus here, we can both kind of push, we can both pull. And so I think the reason it's important, Tom kind of did it to me yesterday, the reason it's important that we switch our feet when we're here, like I play left-sided, is that if I stay here and he pulls me, what starts to happen is I go over my own toes. And I think this gets to the root of what I'm trying to show with this thing of turning the heels, is that when he pulls and when I've got my heel like this and he pulls, I've got all of this kind of shock absorber on the pull. For a very small movement, he has to do an awful lot of pulling. Yeah? And the more I sink, and I can start to turn my thumb out as well, just to give it a bit more. I can turn my chin to my shoulder, but the more I sink, the more he has to put in to even attempt to move it. Does that make sense? So it's important that when any of you compete, and obviously people sit down a lot, but in the heavyweights tend not to pull. Like the higher the weight goes up, if you're doing gi, the less likely there is to be any guard, because they just don't move that well down. So this is stuff like that I want people to be aware of. So if we end up on the same side grip, I think this side needs to actually, he really needs to be doing the same. So your foot, yeah, because otherwise if you're standing, this is something to be aware of when dealing with a lefty, is that you've got no rotation. All I've got to do is start getting your weight over your toes and you begin to move. Does that make sense? So it's looking at actually what is there that you've got your pull push arm is your collar arm, so that's what Jimmy Pedro talks about it. This is your push pull, and this arm really is the direction arm. Like you can change angles a little bit. You push him, so this is taking him, it's weaker and it takes him side to side. It's stronger, it pushes and pulls him. Yeah. So just have a play around with getting this idea of you're both in this, you've both gone to this grip. And the minute you're dealing with same side, so you can feed each other on this, the minute I'm dealing with same side, I need to begin getting to this. So that when he pulls me, I'm getting into my sit out. When he pushes me, I can bring my shoulder forward if he comes forward. I'm much less concerned about him pushing my collar on my cross side push. I can turn into it. It's not the disaster it can be when I feet this way, and now he pulls me. I'm the wrong way round. My feet are wrong. Because my pull is this side, and he's pulling me at an angle to my ability to pull. So when he pulls me here, I can try and do this. So if he gets the pull right, makes me step. Yeah, just have a go at that. It's just something I want people to recognise, and then we'll get on with some scoring. So you went right, yeah. Yeah. See, I don't have as much pull with this.
No. You can use the torque and you turn that shoulder back.
Yeah, it kind of runs off. Whereas if your feet are the other way around, yeah, I can pull you here. And you can feel as well. It's not got a great connection here, but yeah. Make sure you turn the heel top. So Simon, any questions on that? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Just double check, hand forward.
It's their arm that makes the difference. Yeah. So it's his hand rather than mine. So it's his hand is going to pull me. And the reason I want this concept is if Josh has guard, just going to guard for a second. I really want people thinking about, there's usually a primary push-pulls going on. So a common guard might be like this guard, right? So he's got, this is the same thing going on. He's got a push-pull going on. And he's got this this is a directional control. Because if I start moving side to side, he can keep the foot on the outside, but the primary thing that's stopping him going that way is this. Yeah, and then what usually starts to happen with this type of guard is he's got his hook in, he's grabbed this heel. So he's got a push-pull. So what do I need to do? Yeah, and the key thing is like, I might not be able to sprawl backwards. It is kind of sprawl, but it's lifting this heel. So when he pushes with this, it's really the heel that's the most important thing. And it actually begins to be, it starts to clear its hook. So he pushes. So I'm showing him my heel. And now I can begin putting all my weight on Josh, making his life miserable. Yeah, gets transferred away past his guard. So it's just this idea of recognizing what somebody's primary push-pull, what their primary push-pull driver is, which limb is primarily pushing and pulling and transferring, and what they're doing direction-wise. Obviously, if he's down and he puts both his feet on me, right, this is kind of the equivalent of like having two hands on the collar. So he has an awful lot of push-pull, but he doesn't really have like a great deal of direction. So, one of the things maybe we start thinking about, this is just hypothesis really, this bit, but like, the more that my feet are like this now, it's going to be harder for him to push me back. And he wants to push me back because the further I get towards here, the more he can get up. Because he's controlling the distance. He's now that's buying him, that distance buys him the time to be able to bring his shoulder into the middle. Yeah, he starts building his house and getting up. Yeah. Or I come far back in, it gives him the time to reset. But he gets to start threatening that I'm start seeing shit, he's coming back up again. Because that's a completely different problem. I'm trying to pass the guard and he just gets up. Yeah. So identifying that primary push-pull driver, let's just give that a go as well. So just go down in the guard, one hook, create direction, other one on the hip, And just working on as he pushes, just turning again, just turning this heel in. So we're raising our heel on that side, changing the angle of his pressure. So make sure the foot's on the iliac crest and grabbing on here. Yeah, completely go with it. And now just start to score them. Pull the way. Yeah, right.